However, speaking of dark shadows, we have a dark shadow.
Yeah, video's coming out
Video
on
is coming out
the
soon.
11th. I'd like to go see
Oh gosh, that's going to be so wonderful. Haven't seen that in... Gosh, when was the last one?
that. I know, gosh,
Too long ago.
1980 something. Yeah.
My goodness, that's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
but it's, well, we get to. I want to go see it. I know it's supposed to be a comedy, or it's kind of got some comedy in it now because Tim Burton made it comedy.
Yeah.
So
Well, Tim Burton's a rather strange character.
he is, but well, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, hopefully it's going to be a good video. I want to see it nonetheless. I mean, it is a Dark Shadows video. But hopefully he kept it with the same format. I hope. We'll find out.
And Johnny Depp.
Yeah, figures.
Welcome YouTube, Facebook, and GenderBlenders viewers.
Hi everyone.
This is week 169.
Yes.
We've got 169 of these.
That's a lot of videos.
That's a
we've
lot of
done.
videos.
Yeah. I haven't been here for the whole 169, but a lot of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of questions to go through. Well, in fact, we've got 3 questions. The first question is, how do you feel, or did you feel pre-op about your old genitalia and or androgenous box?
And the second question is, how do you anticipate that you will feel when you're finally corrected? Men, this includes your chest area.
Yeah. And if you are already post-op, tell us about your life-changing experience, GCS, gender corrective surgery experience, and your current feelings of now having the appropriate anatomy. Wow.
Those are some nice questions.
Yes. Now we can answer those.
I think we
So-
can probably do that.
Kind of put ourselves into how we felt pre-op
Pre-op times. Ooh.
when we had our old genitalia and our androgynous box, as I called it. Well,
How did you feel, sis?
well, I hated it, to be honest with you. I didn't like myself at all. Didn't like talking about it. Didn't like thinking about it. Hated it whenever I went and took a shower and looked down, seeing the little character down there and going and praying, to God in the bathroom and stuff a lot, to make me correct or help me. Not knowing when or if I was ever going to be corrected. I mean, I remember, for many years, just literally hating it. And there was not a whole lot of foresight for me, in the area that I grew up, in the community I grew up with in Ohio, because there wasn't a lot of acceptance for a long time. So, when I finally was able to and went full-time, which I did, I went immediately full-time, it was a really good feeling, but it still wasn't correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I certainly was going to do anything in the world that I possibly could to seek and get correction, because I just felt so incomplete because I wasn't me. I wasn't me completely. So, how did you feel about it from the time that you recognized and knew, who you were and what you needed to do? How did you handle that?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because throughout my life, the little thingy down there never worked right, and I was always wondered about, what the heck's wrong and things like that, and it was very, very tough.
Yes.
As you know, I've got a son, and it was work creating him. It wasn't fun. And, after I discovered the real me, I immediately started transitioning, and I couldn't get rid of that thing fast enough.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not want it down there. I didn't like it. When I had to do bodily functions. You don't want to touch it. You don't want anything. I mean, yeah. It's just there, and in this case, thing is appropriate.
Use the word. It's the wrong part.
But, yeah, it was the wrong part, and that's exactly how I felt about it. That this is just plain wrong. And now I finally understand why.
Yeah.
And
Then you finally understood why.
Yeah, and then you go through your transition.
Mm-hmm.
Everything makes sense, but, you know...
You still don't feel complete.
Absolutely, you don't feel complete.
Yeah.
And, you know, even when I went in for my GCS, because, you know, as part of me not understanding about myself, I had some heart issues. So they put me on a treadmill. And I had to get the, go through and pass that test before they would actually do the surgery.
Right, understandable.
So now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here it is. Get me on that treadmill, get me through this thing, and then get me down to surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that so many times. That's true. Yeah. Just like, come on, people, let's make it correct. Yeah. I wasn't so ambitious about it because, well, I was ambitious about being corrected. I'd never been in a hospital before, never had a broken bone, never had any diseases of any kind. I had just never had, being born in a doctor's office, I never had any hospitalization experience whatsoever from the time I was born. Of course, you know, sister, you know, I knew who I was at a very young age.
Yeah.
Which surprised me that you didn't pick up on it yourself. But
I know.
But
it surprises me too. There was enough clues.
Yeah. But it was wonderful, you know, after I woke up. Because I didn't think I was even going to come out of it because I'd never had surgery before. I was so scared. Oh, but you know, one of the nice things is we both had the same surgeons, and they were wonderful. Yes, we both had Dr. Preacha from
Dr.
Preacha and Dr. Burren from Thailand.
Yes,
and
they are just absolutely.
They were
marvelous.
adorable. They made us family. In fact, we still are family. And anyway, it was hard to come back home. I mean, even though I went over there for surgery, after we'd been there for a while, it was hard to come back home because these were people that, you know, gave us, that finally allowed us to be ourselves and helped us to accomplish that. And, you know, and they were so friendly and they were so...
Oh, they were.
And they became family. They really did.
They sure did.
So, you know, again, you know, can never say enough in any of our videos. Just, you know, thank you, Dr. Preacha, and thank you, Dr. Burren, and thank you, Jessie, and all the nurses and wonderful staff there at PAI. We can never forget you because you are, in fact, our family. You may be overseas from each other, but I sometimes just cry because I want to come over and see you guys and visit you guys again. And believe me, we do have intentions of doing that soon.
Yeah, if you guys are watching this video, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, definitely. So, how did you anticipate that you would feel when you were finally corrected? And, you know, to me, if I survived the operation, which was how I felt, I was just, you know, oh gosh, I was going to live for every single moment of my life. You know, not having to deal with, you know, any visual aspects of being incorrect. But, you know, my transitioning was going, because I was in, you know, the first puberty stage, and I was making bodily changes even while I was over there in Thailand, which, you know, was some incredible, amazing things. You know, it was really funny because, you know, a lot of the transgender or trans people over there who weren't, what you might call intersexed, but, you know, or extreme transsexuals like myself, you know, they didn't have to go into or see, you know, they went and seen the therapist, but then they went from seeing the therapist wrote them their letter, and they went in and had their surgery. And in my case, you remember, I went in and seen the therapist, and immediately from seeing the therapist, where did they send me? To go see a gynecologist. Because I had to go she needed to check me out and everything else and do the ultrasounds and stuff like that, make sure everything was correct and everything else, and that I was going to be okay for the surgery. And after seeing a gynecologist, and whatever, she wrote me a letter stating you must go and see a gynecologist, and she seen me after the surgery as well, because I had the additional parts. So that was an experience in itself, because I remember asking you, did you ever have to go see a gynecologist? And you said no. So that was kind of an experience.
Yeah.
So, but tell me, okay, let's start with you. How do you feel now that you've had your life-changing gender corrective surgery, and what are your current feelings now having the appropriate anatomy?
Oh my goodness. Having the correct, it just feels right. It feels right.
Yeah.
Everything just absolutely connects, from the simpler functions of just normal bodily functions that you go through.
Yes.
You sit down and everything is just natural. And it's just absolutely amazing. And I'll probably never ever, because I still don't to this, and I'm a couple 2.5 years post-op now, and I don't think I'll ever lose that little girl feeling about that. It's just so wonderful to be able to have that correct feelings.
Yeah, and that's so true. There are a lot of obligations, after you've had your gender corrective surgery, that you have to fulfill, including self-care, self-maintenance of yourself. Some of the things such as, you have to go through dilation.
Yeah, that's right.
Every day you should go through it. Just keep yourself exercised, especially while your new vagina is still just a neo-vagina until it becomes a full-fledged vagina. Yeah. And then, of course, you have to make sure that you keep yourself clean, especially within the first 3 months.
Oh,
you have to clean every single day, including every part. And, of course, one of the things that I noticed after I was corrected and everything else is there was so much discovery. I had to discover my new anatomy. And I was, like, for the first 2 or 3 months still, because of the fact that it was so fresh and new and the stitches were going away, and the skin stuff was healing, and there were areas and stuff that all work. Finally got to where it felt okay for me to literally go explore, with the mirror, looking to see myself for the first time, finding out, because you have to feel about and see where your new parts are, where
How did you
your
feel about
vagina
that?
are. That's what I'm answering.
Yeah.
You have to know where you are. You have to know yourself, and it takes a while to learn, because there's areas that are very tender, which will always stay tender, but you have all of the different new cavities. Heck, to be honest with you, I didn't even know where I was peeing from, to be honest with you. Those are all things that you discover for yourself after you've been corrected, and your swelling goes down, your surgical wounds and stuff heal themselves, and you're capable of doing a little bit more exploring. But remember, you're cleaning every single day, and there are areas that you just want to try and stay away from while you are healing. It's not that that's painful. It's just that you are so delicate, and you're told that you're very delicate. You have to take it easy. Then you have your dilation, and one of the things I was also awesomely concerned about was making sure that you had the appropriate depth, and that you weren't, and that when you're supposed to be stretching, but not that much at first, but then more and more as time progresses, so that you make sure that you are maintaining that depth or accomplishing your goal as far as the depth is concerned. So there's a lot to it. And going to the gynecologist, and then looking at you, and going to your physician, making sure. Well, of course, we have a trans specialist. Yeah, so they were able to do a little bit more explanation and do a vaginal examination and stuff like that, and make sure that you were okay.
Right.
it's always natural, you know, after you've had your surgery for a while to bleed a little bit and have a little blood show. Of course, I had to mix that on top of my monthly episodes, so that was kind of strange and while at the same time exciting for me. And of course, you're sitting there going, okay, where is this and where is that? So you really at first, I found out, after having been corrected, you're discovering where it's at, and each time you're having to use the mirror because you have to get the feel for where it's at. And your feeling comes back gradually.
Yeah, slowly. Initially, there's a lot of numbness still down there because the nerves have been, cut and things.
Right, because things are put back together and things are still healing down there. So eventually you start getting your feeling and stuff back. And of course, then you have those people who are going in and having breast augmentation. They also can do. And of course, they did a little FFS corrective surgery on me because I had a hole underneath my chin that I had to get taken care of.
Right.
So they got that corrected. They did a little bit on the nose, but not near as much. That's why I'm going in for a professional FFS work to be done on May the 18th. Hopefully that's going to be, a life-changing experience as well. And I'm a bit fearful of that, but not as fearful as what I was when I had the gender corrective surgery. Like I said, I know that I needed it, but it was the fear of just being put under that I had. But it was one of those fears that I faced. And we got it accomplished, and I've never been more happier. Oh, being correct now and finally being myself is an experience that only to me, being a Jewish person, also being a bit Catholic, God is the only one that could have provided all of that and made that happen, gave them the skills over there that they have to have allowed us to have been corrected as much as we were. The experience over there is like no other. And I'm hoping that the experience that I'm going to have with the FFS over here is going to be much like that experience that I had over there, because they made you feel as if you were family and they were going to take really good care of you, and they did.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah. I had no pain. Oh, well, if you watched any of my videos, the 5 videos I made, literally, I mean, Steffi took videos of us the whole time while we were over there. And we have a lot of pictures we're going to include on the video, too, of the surgeon, Dr. Preacha, and Steffi and I will have a couple pictures on the video that, at the end of the video, that with us both together with Dr. Preacha, the staff, the amazing staff over there. I mean,
it's wonderful.
Even the driver himself became family. It was phenomenal to have an experience like that over there. You hope, wish, and dream that you can have that kind of an experience here. You really do.
Yeah, that's right.
Over there, you're taken care of from your motel room to the clinic, from the clinic to the hospital, and all the way back to the motel room. In fact, I don't even remember coming back to the motel last time.
Well, you were pretty well out of it.
When I had the FFS. Yeah.
They gave you a bunch of sleeping pills, and you were pretty well out.
I was shocked. I didn't remember anything until the next morning.
That's right.
It's kind of like having a good scotch.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a different
Yeah. So. Anyway, I think we had an amazing time, and thank you so much for the questions. They are very important questions. How you are going to feel, and how you feel prior to, how you feel during the time of getting yourself corrected, how you anticipate you're going to feel. A lot of that has a lot to do with transitioning and your expectations, because not everybody has an opportunity to seeks the opportunity of being fully corrected, even though transitioning never stops. So it really depends upon what your goals are, what you set up for yourself, and what your expectations are of transitioning. And
that's very true.
But I can tell you that having gone full all the way, there's still things that I'm having done. There's still things, sis. that you're having done.
That's right.
And there's a lot to it. And you know, one of the things that we are trying to do is we're trying to help people to afford that, and trying to make it possible for people, make it affordable for people. And you know, anything that anyone can do to help us in accomplishing that, we seek them out, so
Yeah,
that we can
absolutely.
help, so that we can help others. We've already helped 2 people, and I
Mhm.
know that they're very, very happy about it. And we've got more people coming. So anyway, that's all I have.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know,
Yeah.
on that third question, you know, it says, tell us about your life-changing GCS experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, you're absolutely right. It is life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
So that GCS experience is just so phenomenal. It is life-changing.
Yeah.
You live life differently.
That's correct. Yes, you do. And you have to make sure that you're ready for it, because like I said, there are daily obligations that you have in taking care of yourself. And if you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to ask in your comments and suggestions. And please subscribe to us here on either Facebook, YouTube, or on GenderBlenders. And we'd be more than happy to answer your questions and or to help and work with you in seeking out the corrective surgeries that you might want to have.
Mm-hmm.
We have a long list. We have 2 doctors that are on our staff that work with us and help us out with our videos. We have 2 therapists
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and we have a trans support group that we are getting ready to start that in Encinitas, which is going to be a milestone for them. There's a lot of trans people that live in Encinitas, so that's needed as well. So we have a lot of things still on our plate, and a lot of things on our bucket list that we're still trying to get accomplished. And we'd like to see each and every one of you, and hope to hear from each and every one of you. So that's all I have.
Until next week.
Thank you so
I'm
much
Stephanie.
for watching. I'm Stephanie. Bye.